kind of a little far back here. I'm just going to move it up. Would you take this and pass it down?
Sure.
It's summer, and that means bathing suits and barbecues, right? But it also means an increased visibility of the homeless. On any given night, more than 630,000 people experience homelessness. 40% of those experience it living on the street without shelter, in a car, or in an abandoned building. And that's according to the 2013 report from the National Alliance to End Homelessness. So who are these homeless people? Well, they fall into 4 categories, the first of which would be the chronically homeless, who are mistakenly seen as the majority of the homeless population. They are the people who are without homes due to some sort of disability, be it mentally or physically. In reality, they only make up 16% of the homeless population. The rest of the homeless population is made up by veterans who, due to some sort of disability they've received in war, be it physical or mental, find themselves without a home. There are youths who, on the average age of 14, run away from home to escape family conflict, be it divorce, abuse, or neglect. And the largest subpopulation of homeless people are actually families with children, and they make up 38% of the homeless population. The most common reason for their homelessness would be some sort of financial catastrophe. The primary breadwinner having a car accident, or a death of the primary breadwinner, or some sort of medical catastrophe. I personally believe that almost each and every one of us are 2 to 3 steps away from homelessness ourselves. The first would be a financial catastrophe, like the ones I mentioned before. The second would be a medical illness that you can't afford to pay for. Excuse me, those 2 are the first one. The second one would be the inability to support yourself during unemployment or one of these medical catastrophes. The third, and what I think is the most important, would be the lack of family support. Be it because the person does not have family, or because their family is not in a position to help them. Basically, what we have is a safety net between ourselves and homelessness. And many Americans do not have this safety net, which is illustrated in the report by the fact that although homelessness was decreased by 120,000 people from 2005 in the categories of chronic homelessness, veterans, and youth, families with children increased in homelessness since 2011. And although there's still a lot to do, that's what these numbers illustrate, the decrease shows that we can actually make a difference. And this is very pertinent in Texas, because the report shows that in Texas, there are 13 homeless people per 10,000 people in the state, which is much better than the national average of 20. But the best state, Mississippi, had 8. However, Mississippi is showing an increase of 8% in their homelessness, while Texas is showing a decrease of 5%, which shows that we're on the right track. And now that you know more about the problem, you may be asking yourself, why should I help or even care? Frankly, because it could be you. As I said before, many Americans are living without that safety net. And one misstep, one financial catastrophe can unravel your entire life. We've all had hard times. We've all experienced hardship. Imagine what your life would be like if you hadn't been able to find that job. If you had some sort of medical illness you had to pay expensive treatment for when you did not have the money to do so, and didn't have family support to help you when you desperately needed it. Frankly, I'm sure I'd be homeless. And I suspect a lot of us would be. I mean, we're lucky. We're born in a prosperous country to family who supported us and have either avoided or survived major life issues this far. But the cause of homelessness is simple. It's the inability to pay for housing. But the solution is more complex. There are many things you can do, though. You can do what I think is the most important, which is support the minimum wage increase. You can do that on a local and a national level. On a local level, you can call your local representative and urge them to raise the state's minimum wage and follow the footsteps of more than half of the states in the United States already. You can also call your national representative and urge that person to vote for the national minimum wage increase, which is going on right now. And if you're thinking that, oh, $10 for, say, a fast food worker sounds like too much, maybe you should ask yourself if you're being paid too little. You can also reestablish that safety net I was talking about by supporting government programs and supporting your local homeless shelter and local food bank. You can also volunteer at one of these organizations. There are dozens in Dallas, most notably the Bridge downtown, which helps homeless people transition from homelessness to having a home and having a job and being able to support themselves for the long term. I believe they've helped more than 1,000 people since they've opened. And really the least we can do, which is something I do, is if you see a homeless person on the corner, outside the grocery store, or at the post office, treat them like a human being. Maybe even buy them lunch, say hello, smile at them. And by actively pursuing these areas, we can decrease homelessness. And hopefully, eventually, when it decreases to a certain amount, we can further our resources to preventing homelessness, which hopefully will. So I urge you to participate in these areas and help those who are less fortunate. Because by the definition of being less fortunate, who's homeless and who isn't all comes down to luck.